For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
We continue to focus on the unsettling 2.5% levy. And there's been a major fallout, and that's thanks to a revelation made by the Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for finance. Somebody says that it's a bit of a misnomer to describe the individual who's presiding over the affairs of the House as the Speaker. According to him, the individual should be the listener as opposed to the speaker. And we have a whole lot more, including Brazilians, people from the Dominican Republic, people from Colombia. What's up? Welcome to another edition of the most monitored talk show in the world, and that is NewsSpin, right here on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on the NewsSpin Facebook page and YouTube during the course of the broadcast. Your calls at 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, and Kimani will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. So just only recently I was speaking with a law enforcement official. An individual said to me, Tim, this is a problem that we have faced over several decades now, but it is becoming more acute for whatever reason or reasons. The presence of foreign nationals in our country, those people who are entering our borders illegally, not the presence of foreign nationals, but people who are entering our borders illegally from a number of countries. So Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, the Dominican Republic. And so I received some information from the police via a press release, which confirms that's exactly what we are experiencing right now in this country. And this certainly is adding to the challenge that law enforcement personnel, officers of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, have to experience ever so often. So it's no longer a case of St. Lucia nationals who are here maybe engaging in illegal acts, but increasingly we have individuals from a number of outside territories, adding to the challenge of maintaining law and order in this country, and therefore emphasizing the need for the authorities, Prime Minister, Minister for Finance, etc., to provide the police with the requisite resources to adequately protect our borders. And we can't stop talking about the K9 unit. Again, Mr. National Security Minister, Finance Minister, Prime Minister, what is the latest on the K9 unit, which was disbanded by your government just about a couple of years ago? All right, so press release coming from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, Immigration Enforcement Actions. Please bear with me as I read. Through joint operations and meticulous investigations, the department has been instrumental in the prosecution of individuals who have violated St. Lucia's immigration laws. In recent cases, the following individuals were apprehended. 38-year-old Felipe Souza dos Santos, a Brazilian national. He was deemed a prohibited immigrant and was charged for disembarking at a port other than an authorized port of entry between January the 1st of this year and February the 2nd also of this year. He was taken before the 1st District Court on Monday, February the 5th, 2024, for bail consideration. He pleaded guilty to the charge and was remanded to the Body Lake Correctional Facility. On Monday, February the 12th, 2024, the 1st District Court made an order for removal of the prohibited immigrant. And there's 47-year-old Maceo Sabina Intimo, a Brazilian national, who was deemed a prohibited immigrant and was charged for disembarking at a port other than an authorized port of entry between December 31st, 2023 and February the 2nd of this year. He was taken before the 1st District Court on Monday, February the 5th, 2024, for bail consideration. He pleaded guilty to the charge and was remanded to the BCF. On Monday, February 12, 2024, the 1st District Court made an order for removal of the prohibited immigrant. And there's more. 32-year-old Yokaira del Carmen Garcia Peralta is a national from the Dominican Republic, or a Dominican national, not Dominican, but Dominican national, who was deemed a prohibited immigrant. On February the 7th, 2024, Ms. Garcia Peralta was repatriated to the Dominican Republic. More news. 45-year-old Brank Jofet Rodriguez Morales is a Colombian national. On Saturday, February the 3rd of this year, he was deemed a prohibited immigrant for disembarking at a port other than an authorized port of entry and was removed from the state. The Royal St. Lucia Police says, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force says it remains committed to protecting the nation's borders. Anyone with information regarding prohibited immigrants, you are asked to contact the nearest police station. Alternatively, anonymous tips can be provided by dialing 555, the crime hotline, or by utilizing the RSLPF crime hotline application, which is available in Google Play Store. Information coming from the Press Relations Department of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. 2.5% levy. The much maligned 2.5% levy. Maligned because of the manner in which it was introduced to us by the Prime Minister, on the basis that the monies would be used to finance the provision of health care and to maintain law and order or to ensure the security of the state. Later we heard in July of 2023 from the Executive Director of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Mr. Brian Louisi, that money would not necessarily go towards what it was stated for, what it was created for, this levy. It is a fund that would be set up but utilized for anything at all. From the perspective of the government, if it needed to be financed, monies raised from this levy would be used to finance those various policies, initiatives, you name it. So do you think it's a case where we were being misled? Even at that time, apparently, many people were not cognizant of this for one reason or the other. Maybe people had blinkers on and they could not make any sense of it. Or it's a case where anything that this government does, it ought not to be criticized, it ought not to be analyzed, it ought not to face certain questions or scrutinized at all. So let us hear from Mr. Brian Louisi, Executive Director of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, speaking in July of last year on the 2.5% health and security levy.
The business community generally understands why the need for extra revenue, as there is a budget deficit. The business community, however, generally does. And we're hoping that this would have been an earmark tax that would go directly towards improvement in the health and security sectors, where there's an appreciation for that to happen. However, it was indicated that this was not an earmark tax, and it is really just going to cover current expenditures and projected expenditures, and that there would be no specific new initiatives that would have brought in that enhancement.
Executive Director of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Mr. Brian Louisi, speaking with the reporters in July of last year. And so all of a sudden, several months after the levy came into effect, and the Prime Minister recently boasting that some $10.5 million would have been generated, and prior to that, people were complaining, it's a compounding tax, it has appeared on the cable bill, telephone bills, various items in the supermarket, foodstuff, etc. When we were almost assured by the Prime Minister that that would not be the case. And a lot of people jumped to the defense of the administration, said that, no, this is required. Don't we want proper health care? Don't we want law and order to be maintained in this country? And we're concerned about our own security. Who will finance it? You must finance those things, you know. When you clamor for them and when you beg for them and when you demand it, you have to pay for it, etc., etc. Now we are hearing, on the eve of our independence anniversary, 45 years of independence, we are so independent and we have to be proud of our independence and all that. You know, we're calling all the shots internally and externally. It turns out this was imposed on us at the behest of an outside, external agency. The Caribbean Development Bank is saying to the government of St. Lucia, these are the things that you must do in order to secure a $100 million loan. And you know what? The people are representing our interests because, truth be told, we are just busy feeling the pain. We are just busy trying to survive. And that's the reality. We are just busy trying to cope with high prices, inflation, and crime. So all of us can't have discussions with the Caribbean Development Bank to represent our interests, do we? Should all of us be speaking with the representatives of the International Monetary Fund when they want to impose strict measures on us as conditions for getting a loan, the World Bank and etc.? So, a la Animal Farm, some people claim to be more intelligent than others. They have the requisite skills and so on, and the connection and the ties. And they are most readied. So they are negotiating on our behalf. And they're not being sympathetic. Boy, this 2.5% you asked me to impose on the people of St. Lucia, that is unacceptable. The people, and I know the people well, from Marchand, from Dennery, from Anse-Lorraine, Barboneau Canneries, they will not stomach this. Not only stomach this, they just will not be able to cope. And so, mouth open, story jump out, we hear from the Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for finance, speaking in the island's parliament on Tuesday of this week, when he made the revelation. And that is why I came up with the question of the day. What do you think about the genesis of the 2.5% levy since the Philip J. Pierre revelation? What do you think about the genesis of the 2.5% levy since the Philip J. Pierre revelation? Here's the Prime Minister.
We had to do some policy actions. We had to, these are the prerequisites, Mr. Speaker, for obtaining that loan. It's called a policy-based loan, Mr. Speaker. And we had to have some prior actions. The first prior action was, one, to enhance tax revenue and support fiscal stability. What did we do, Mr. Speaker? We introduced the health and security levy at the rate of 2.5% on goods and services. We had to do some policy actions. We had to, these are the prerequisites, Mr. Speaker, for obtaining that loan. It's called a policy-based loan, Mr. Speaker. And we had to have some prior actions. The first prior action was, one, to enhance tax revenue and support fiscal stability. What did we do, Mr. Speaker? We introduced the health and security levy at the rate of 2.5% on goods and services.
So I think we've been unfair to Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for finance, Philip J. Pierre. It's not his doing. It is not his doing. This was imposed on the people of St. Lucia at the behest of the Caribbean Development Bank. So next time around, you should decide not to vote for the CDB. Last evening on Newsmaker Live, Leader of the Opposition, Alan Chastney, addressed that particular issue involving the 2.5% levy and the revelation that was made by the Prime Minister in the nation's parliament this week. So we now hear from Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Alan Chastney.
The next bill was this $100 million loan from CDB. The loan was to build resilience coming out of COVID, right? That's the justification for the loan. Now, I understand that that's how CDB went to get the money. So CDB went to all the institutions after COVID and said, look, we need to help build resilience back into the economy. No problem. The government of St. Lucia chose to use it with two priority areas: modernization and land acquisitions. Other than that, we got no details. How much of the $100 million is going towards modernization? How much is going towards land acquisition? And what's the expected results of those loans? The conditionalities that were set. How have you mitigated against the draconian impact that some of those legislation, the pieces of legislation and things that you're going to do, for instance, like the 2.5% levy, what is it you've done to help soften the blow for the public of St. Lucia? And therefore, the $100 million, how is that going to help you? So how is $100 million going into government modernization and into land acquisition going to justify the sacrifices you've asked people to make to pay the 2.5% levy? No detail. Like when they got the Saudi loan, right? You borrowed $200 million. You never explained how much money was going to the hospital and how much money is going to the stadium. Why should we care? We should care because we had a situation with Rochamel, if you remember, where the Prime Minister came to the House and borrowed money, and embedded in the loan was money to guarantee for Rochamel, of which no one knew. We didn't know until it came back and boomeranged on us, and we had to pay out $12 million US, right, to a private sector company, and there's nothing that we can show that we got. This is why it's so important that we hold the government accountable. Now, we cannot continue to have events that ought to teach us as to what the conduct in Parliament, not our behavior, the conduct in terms of truthfulness, okay? Should there be a recourse by the public that if a government comes to Parliament and deliberately lies and deceives the people in Parliament, what should be the consequence of that, Tim? You're talking about the highest office in the country. And that's where, as a society, we have to learn.
Leader of the Parliamentary Opposition speaking yesterday on the DBS television Wednesday evening program, Newsmaker Live. That was Alan Shastey. Let's hear from you right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026, 716-2026. And, of course, Kimani, I think, has an update for us regarding your conversation, your behavior in the chat room.
In the chat room, someone says, where is the special prosecutor? He needs to work on PJP. Another comment, good thing there's technology to hold them accountable. Someone says, we will not forget the esteemed accountant who declared to Tim that the 2.5% tax is nothing much. Yes, now the information is public. He's sort of recanting, but prior to that, he held fast in his support of the 2.5% levy.
Well, that statement was first made on, incidentally, in the threesome in the morning with Big Slim and QQ. And we later reproduced a part of that interview on NewsSpin. So, Mr. Pitterkin, Richard Pitterkin, he did not make that pronouncement on NewsSpin directly.
Another comment, invite the Chamber of Commerce and their representative to your show, Tim. Someone says, in the next 2 years, let's see the improvement in health and security from that tax.
We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller. Caller, you still have not fixed that phone, right?
Right. That phone. I'll have to call Flo to do that for me. Are you hearing me better now?
Continue, caller. I'm not hearing you better, but try. Go ahead.
Okay. I was saying earlier this week I called and I said the best thing for St. Lucia right now is to dissolve the House and call general election with the interim Prime Minister in an interim government. Here is the evidence that what happened should take place. Here is the evidence. Mr. Pierre come in the House and say about putting a levy 2.5% of security and health. And here he coming back. The worst thing, Timothy, when your own dog beats you, bites you, and you coming back to tea and telling us that was to secure a loan from the bank. Right in our face. This is another reason why Philip JBS should dissolve the House and call election. Remember I said not for the politicians, but for the country's sake. And I believe that's the best thing to do. I'm going to say it again. That's the best thing to do, Philip JBS. Dissolve the House and coalition. Because I don't see that you can manage. I don't see that you can govern St. Lucia. And we're sinking down. We're going deeper in that hole. So this is my advice to the Prime Minister. Dissolve that House and call new election, fresh election for the country's sake. Let's turn around, make a round to see what's going on. We cannot stuck there. And things might even go better if there is another election. People might even think different because the world is not waiting for us. We have to think differently.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We go back to Kimani for an update.
Someone says enough is enough. We need a strong opposition. Time to put a team in place. Another comment. Question of the day. What should be the consequence since Philip JPL lied to St. Lucians about the 2.5% tax? Let's see what else we have.
Should we say lie or misled us on it?
Same difference?
I know somebody will attack me on this, but, sometimes it sounds a little too raw when you say that the man lied, So let's see if we have a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You on the air? Hello?
Good afternoon, Tim, and how are you?
I'm okay, caller. How about you?
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, the biggest culprit in that 2.5 levy thing is Brian Louisi.
Why?
The biggest culprit is Brian Louisi because he knew all along where the Prime Minister was going with that.
No, but he spoke.
That's all
No.
to say on that for now.
But he spoke his mind. I think we just did not take what he was saying as seriously. And I'll play the clip in just a bit. I mean, he was very, very frank in what he said. So.
Well, Tim, yes, was it true? But he had to come out and explain to the public, especially the people who do not understand, the English the right way. But Brian Louisi knew that, Tim. He knew exactly where Pierre was going with that. I will call again.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Let's hear from Mr. Brian Louisi, Executive Director of the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, speaking to, I think it was DBS Television. Yeah, speaking to DBS Television in July of 2023. This is what he said on the 2.5% levy.
The business community generally understands why the need for extra revenue as there is a budget deficit. The business community, however, generally does. And we're hoping that this would have been an earmark tax that would go directly towards improvement in the health and security sectors where there's an appreciation for that to happen. However, it was indicated that this was not an earmark tax and it is really just going to cover current expenditures and projected expenditures, and that there would be no specific new initiatives that would have brought in that enhancement.
What Mr. Brian Louisi said there was as clear as day. People did not read into his analysis of the situation because we didn't want to. We don't want to think for ourselves in this country. We want people to interpret things for us, and even when they do it, we turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to what they are saying. We have another call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Tim, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Tim, I just want to understand something there. If a prime minister mislead a country, there's a penalty for that, right?
It depends. In misleading the country, no. As far as I'm aware, there's no penalty for this.
So the only penalty will be in the ballot box if we choose to.
Yeah.
But Tim, when I really understand that, I almost reached to a point called that blackmail. No, you blackmail your people. Because right now it is biting not us. Well, some of us, but it bites the Prime Minister in the butt now. The purpose of borrowing of putting that 2.5% levy definitely was not intended for health and security.
Mm-hmm.
That is a technique, I call this a technique or malicious technique to force our hand to take an extra revenue. Why don't the Prime Minister come clean and everybody know government have to borrow, you have to create certain things that tax has to be paid to maintain a country? Fair enough. Come clean and tell the people what has happened. Why you implement the 2.5%. But right now, I don't even know how to describe, because I have seen certain things happen in St. Lucia right now, and I'm just wondering how serious with what we are doing. In the U.S., you're not going to get away with that. You would not get away. You cannot use that strategy or technique just to force our hand to give you an extra money. And we very much in doubt as to some of those monies, where they will go through. What will happen to them? Who will be responsible and monitoring to see the purpose of that money? I am surprised to see a government just into office and on a trend of borrowing. This government criticized borrowing before. They say every time United Workers' Party went to Parliament is for borrowing. But if you borrow, you have to pay. You have to show slate. You cannot just borrow money on behalf of a country, and our road is in a mess. Our healthcare is in a mess. Crime situation, it is worse and more. So, I was serious. Instead, they want to listen to your program, and I better just keep quiet and do not comment, But then it baffles me when I'm hearing that these things have accepted it. Everybody right now is in tight lips. Nobody said nothing. Those experts, so-called genius before, who knew everything about economics and government and this, and they all quiet. And it is left to the poor people, including you and our other radio talk shows, to refuse this, not to accept what is going on in this country. Timothy, I thank you.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. Still to come. Why call him a speaker? Shouldn't he be called listener? All that and more as we continue with the most monitored talk show in the world, NewsSpin.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilex remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593 or 285-3329. Or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Call 457-4433 to get bill balances. Use myaccount.lucilec.com for detailed account information and to make online bill payments using a credit or debit card or online bank account. Customers may also take advantage of SurePay's online or walk-in service. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
Rev up for the ride of a lifetime at the 758 Independence Drags 2024, happening at the base on February 24th and 25th. It's 2 days of pure adrenaline. Experience heart-pounding drag races where speed meets excitement. Bring your crew for a weekend filled with fast machines, cheers, and the pursuit of victory. Get ready to win big with loads of prizes. Over $30,000 up for grabs. Join us for the ultimate 758 Independence Drags 2024. Powered by our partners, the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, St. Lucia National Lottery Authority, Invest St. Lucia, St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Caribbean, KFC, Automotive Art, Flow, Ken's Trucking Company, and Diddy Auto Imports. Produced by Payne Entertainment. Be there and be part of the excitement. Let the thrill begin.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are capable to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel, and shoulder pain, cramps, and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So walk again pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book an appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Catch the new vibe and the lingo. More upon more so the tingo. Is more wet flow if you didn't know. All these deals is a winner. More upon more wet flow. More data, more talk for sure. More WhatsApp, video cast app, unlimited talk so you not stop chat.
Flow prepaid combo plans just got better. Loaded with even more data and unlimited talk. Take advantage of WhatsApp and all its features with our new prepaid plans. Unleash your creativity with more social media. Dial *129 to activate.
Now that's the new vibe and the lingo. Yes. More upon more say the tingo. Is more wet flow now you really know. Catch it now. All these deals make you save more. Get more.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
The government of St. Lucia, through the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs, continues to provide more for pregnant women in St. Lucia. Through maternal and child health services under universal health coverage, pregnant women will receive laboratory and ultrasound services through community wellness centers island-wide at no cost. From care during and after pregnancy, vaccinations, family planning to nutritional and mental health counseling, we are here to support you. Take advantage of our weekly services at no cost. And from 1st June 2023, the addition of laboratory and ultrasound services will ease the pressure to aid healthier and safer delivery for you and your baby. Visit your nearest wellness center to register for universal health coverage. For more information, call 468-5300 or 468-5328.
More of your calls and your WhatsApp messages, 716-2026, 452-2979. We have a caller line. Hello and good afternoon. You're on the air.
Tim.
Good afternoon to you, Rick.
I'm kind of in a jokey, sarcasm mood today.
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. I'm in that same mood, Rick.
You know, well,
I'm not too sure. I'm in that same mood.
Maybe you should wait till I see what I'm going to say or after I'm going to say, and then you'll decide really if you're not interested with it. I call it what I call it, but you can call it. Tim, a while ago, Brian Luisi was a tip of Brian Luisi was on there, right?
Yeah.
And Brian Luisi more or less expressed incredulity, or he wasn't sure that he wasn't clear what the government planned to do with that tax at levy.
I think he was clear. I think he was clear. I think what he was.
What exactly?
I think in effect what he was saying is that money, contrary to what the Prime Minister has said, that money will not go directly towards the financing of healthcare and the security of the state. So in other words, the money will be utilized to finance government projects, government initiatives, and so on.
What he said was he's concerned that the money will not go directly to, and I want to tell you that the operative word there is directly.
But let me play the clip again. Let me play the clip because I'm very clear. I'm very clear on this issue.
Okay, all right.
Let's listen to Executive Director of the Chamber, Mr. Brian Luisi.
The business community generally understands why the need for extra revenue as there is a budget deficit. The business community, however, generally does. And we're hoping that this would have been an earmarked tax that would go directly towards improvement in the health and security sectors where there's an appreciation for that to happen. However, it was indicated that this was not an earmarked tax, and it is really just going to cover current expenditures and projected expenditures, and that there would be no specific new initiatives that would have brought in that enhancement.
Okay. So it's not an earmarked tax.
Tim, I like to think I have a good comprehension of English. I like to think that's my job to understand and break things up, to be critical of it when I'm doing critiques, etc. And I want to tell you, I didn't understand a goddamn thing that Brian Luisi said, because that was so cloaked up in cover your ass and diplomacy and you know, I didn't understand anything. But let's move on. Now, there was a gentleman of high esteem called Mr. Richard Peterkin, who commented on that thing as well, right?
Yeah.
What did he say? I'm sure you can remember, so just to remind our listeners. What did he say about the 2.5%?
I mean, basically he said the 2.5% is negligible, and it will appear on certain items, and it will not amount to a lot of money.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal. And then, after that, I have to add that part in case he's listening. After a few more weeks of the public voicing satisfaction, he changed his tone. You remember that?
Yes. Well, he spoke on, I think, maybe you might have spoken before that, but I remember him speaking on Newsmaker Live just a few weeks ago on that issue.
He took it back, Tim. He walked it back.
Mm-hmm.
You're the man on the show. You know he walked it back.
He did.
He said it.
He did.
Exactly.
He did.
So now it became significant that he had misjudged it, etc. My good friends, who I'm sure I hope he's listening, but Mr. Peter King has a particular reputation, a professional reputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the first instance, he said, no big deal, nothing to talk about. That's cool. And then a few weeks after, he seems to have had an epiphany, and he came on and said, oh, you walked it back on your show. He also said on that show, which blew me away, that he advises the Prime Minister on things like that. You remember that?
Yes, he did.
Of course he did. I don't want to speak out of turn.
But
So
he also said, well, I don't think he said he advises, but he was in communication with the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister called him, or he called the Prime Minister on it.
Right. And I said, well, will he advise the Prime Minister? He said, well, boy, people do not normally take his advice, something to that extent.
Exactly. All diplomats, Tim. All diplomats. The only guy who tells it straight out and rough, and I'm so thankful to the general population, but especially the people like your Facebook, your chat room, who allow me the luxury of speaking rough as I think it, to tell it like I think it. And sometimes it breaks the rules. I appreciate that. But that's the only way you get the message across to people. So, my Creole ain't too good, but I'm going to go there. Si pani vole, pani what?
Si pani city west, pani vole.
In other words,
the city west comes first. Si pani city west, pani vole.
Say that.
Si pani city west, pani vole.
Like the facilitators of crime, to
Yeah.
put it in a more understandable English. Facilitators, without facilitators, there are no thieves, right?
Yeah.
That's what he said. And by the way, I'm not calling anybody a thief. But you see, the people of St. Lucia don't seem to realize we are living like slaves. And that's the kind of hard thing they have to understand. You have no friends but yourself. And very often, you're not even your own friend. Because I suspect there are no longer any mirrors in the bathrooms of St. Lucians. Either the bathrooms have disappeared and therefore no mirrors or whatever. Because we don't look at ourselves. We don't think critically. We don't ask ourselves questions. Whatever the politician says, if it's on UWP, it's Alan, although I think Alan has a difficult time with his own people because they themselves believe that Alan is a white man as well. Don't forget that part. Because instead of defending Alan on the basis the rich card is repugnant, they have basically reacted to him like, he's a white man. They have his own party. They don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. So, where we think we have a friend, and that's where we miss our departed friend. What's his name? Your budget man.
Jeff Stewart. Jeff Stewart. Yeah, Jeff Stewart.
Jeff Stewart got in trouble with his own government, the government he supported, because he spoke his mind. I'm not in a position to say spoke correctly. He spoke his mind on the budget, right?
He did.
And he got in trouble. He's actually in Hansard as being told off by Kenny Anthony, although he's a major supporter he was a major supporter of the Labour Party. So now you would expect, with what has exploded in the House there, that Peterkin, my friend and yours, would call the station and say the last time I know I'm a word, and I suspect he not English he was talking. Mr. Peter King, who I understand perfectly. But I also want to point out to you that while I am critical of Peter King and Brian, you have a clip that was sent to me, and I saw it was sent to you, and I hope you will play it, where Kenny Anthony, the former Prime Minister of 3 terms, the backbencher, the man that people look up to as perhaps the only functioning intellect in the House, he stands there and not for the first time tells you that he is wary of speaking his mind on legislation or being critical of the government because people seem not to understand the role of a backbencher. And he went through a whole thing about how people sit in hotels and they backtalk him and they don't realize it comes back or whatever.
I came across that clip.
Well, I think your audience deserves to hear it, especially now, because now is the time. He was in fact expressing a wariness of speaking mind in the interest of the people. Kenny Anthony, with 3 terms, who is an intellect, who is a lawyer, who is a constitutional expert, is afraid to talk on matters of public interest. The Bar Association is afraid to talk. They all are afraid to talk. And why? Because they are afraid of a particular MP. And they have all, we're pretending that's not because we're afraid. It will cost us. As if we don't by now we should be used that if we criticize a government MP, the likelihood is one MP will ignore what you are talking about and instead start talking about what a thief you are or how many people you've gone to bed with. That is true. So people are afraid of that too, as well as people are afraid that their lives may be in jeopardy. Okay? So that is the country we're living into that we call free. This is not free. This is a plantation. This is a plantation, and yellow and red are the slaves, whether they know it or not. They are the slaves. We have a constitution that is of no use to us because we cannot access the rights we are supposedly given by that constitution. Why? Because we don't have the money, we don't have the expertise, and 90% of the time, no lawyer will take your case against a government they're afraid of. Against a government that the prime minister, former prime minister, his own party is afraid of. So you think any lawyers, that's the condition we're living in. So, and finally, I have this question. How would St. Lucians have reacted had the prime minister come straight out and say we need a loan for so and so and so, and part of the condition is we have to pay 2.5, whatever, and it's a tax. How would St. Lucians have reacted?
I think most St. Lucians would have accepted this.
Why you so wimpy?
No. I think most people would have accepted it, but some people would have been critical. Beg your pardon?
Like TD Jakes, they would have swallowed.
Yeah, most people.
Swallowed it, right? Just like they're going to swallow what it turns out to be. Because at the end of the day,
because Rick, people like you to be straightforward, to be genuine, to be honest with them, and they accept things.
Really? But it's a price that the people who should be straightforward and honest with them pay. I just told you Kenny Anthony. I just told you Peter King. I just told you Brian Louisi. So I am saying to you, all the talk going on there. There are people in your chat room who are actually backing the tax, by the way. There are people in your chat room who are saying, what the hell? The same people complaining about the tax, they go and drink rum. On your chat room. And those things, again, you should bring them up and let's discuss, because if we don't.
I don't think anybody in their right mind should be in a position now to defend, to defend the Prime Minister on this particular 2.5% levy, because we were misled in the first place. And then now we're getting a different picture, a different reason as to why it was imposed on the people of this country.
The operative word, there are people in their right mind. There's nobody in St. Lucia, or there are very few people in St. Lucia in their right mind. Slaves don't have mind. Slaves can't have right or not right mind. Slaves have to do what they have to do, like it or not. So this person was written there. I have no doubt he's hoping that the right people will see him defending no matter what. It's all there. Tim, we have to face the reality of the horror we have allowed the country to go into, because we're not going to turn it around unless we analyze and understand how effed up it is, or rather how effed up we permitted it to be, we were complicit in. So I want to know what difference really, except that the Prime Minister did not say what it is, and I suppose, I'm not making an excuse. The Prime Minister should have said exactly what it was.
Because he knew. He knew from them.
He should have said what it was. But I'm saying the callers would have done nothing had he said it's a tax. The government can do whatever the hell it wants in this country. I'm saying so. The government can say to hell with the Constitution. The government can let Alan Shastney talk till he turns black. Okay? Till he turns black. Alan Shastney. And nothing can stop the government because we have no people standing up for the government. The Bar Association is complicit with the government. The lawyers are complicit with the government. The accountants and people who are supposed to be leading pressure groups like the Chamber of Commerce is a pressure group. People don't know that. They cannot count on them. So you can't count on anybody but yourself. So you, the slaves, if you will not stand up, and I'm not calling any rebellion, go against the government, go against what you know to be wrong, whether it's painted red, and I've been saying that a long time, whether it's red or yellow. When Alan Shastney took office, I called him the country. I said, look, you're happy now, you got the Prime Minister you wanted, but you will be against yourself unless you hold Alan Shastney's feet to the fire. You remember me saying so over and over on talk?
Yeah.
So don't complain now about what Alan did then and you did nothing about, etc., etc. So that is what we have to face. The politicians will lie from now to tomorrow. All kinds of lies.
And yet still they call each other liars.
Oh yeah, but they call each other that privilege. That again is spitting in the face of the public. because they call each other criminals, renegade, liar, rapists, all kind of crap in the house. And the little drones carry it around to spread it. They don't realize that the spitting is as much in the red eyes as in the yellow eyes. When Alan Shaston is something that's not true, it's as bad as when the government says it. Tim, one final point. Please, I know I've been long. We have to be very careful of the fact that we have 17 people on one side of the house and 2 on the other. One, with due respect, is not a fighter. And be very careful on that. He's not a fighter. He does his politicking in his constituency, and he may be a good politician in that respect. But nobody expects to hear Bradley stand up there.
I was about to ask you to identify that person. Bradley Felix you're referring to?
I just did.
Okay.
Public person.
Yeah.
Bradley is not going to stand there and make any serious noise or rattle any cages. So if Alan Shaston obeys every rule by speakers who are obviously not in tune with the standing orders, who are new, and by the way, I think that speaker, that deputy speaker, ought to realize that while he's busy following what Claudia said about, understand how much trouble Claudia Francis got into behaving as he did, as if he's a judge in a courtroom, uninformed judge in a courtroom. So when he's copying Claudius, he should remember the consequences of that. Okay, so I think the UWP as a party should expect the people who are representing him in the House to do whatever it takes to fight for the democracy that they believe in, to fight for the right as they see it, and there are laws that if it goes too far, and it can be dealt with according to the standing orders of the House team. But don't sit there expecting Alan Shaston to be like a wimp, whimper, whereas other people can say whatever they want, as they want, and guaranteed the speaker will not stop them, etc. If we continue like that, that's slave plantation. Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you so much. In a moment, we'll be hearing from Dr. Kenny Anthony, that clip that Rick referenced, and also, should he be called a speaker or should he be listener? This is the most monitored talk show in the world, NewsSpin.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort, accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus take charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
Coming soon, the same excellent Lucelec service in a new location at Daisy Avenue in Sanssouci, Castries. Thanks for your patience.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Catch the new vibe and the lingo. More upon more so the tingo. Is more with flow if you didn't know. All these deals is a winner. More more with flow. More data, more talk for sure. More WhatsApp, video cast app, unlimited talk, so you not stop chat.
Flow prepaid combo plans just got better. Loaded with even more data and unlimited talk. Take advantage of WhatsApp and all its features with our new prepaid plans. Unleash your creativity with more social media. Dial *129 $ to activate.
Now that's the new vibe in the lingo. Yes. More pan more, see how the tingo. It's more with flow, now you really know. Catch it now. All these deals make you save more. Get more.
An exquisite 3-bedroom modern villa, panoramic ocean views, well-equipped modern appliances, a plunge pool. Bon Esprit Villa. For that quiet getaway in a lush green space. Your home away from home. Understated decadence, tranquility, and harmony. For special occasions and weekend getaways, the perfect escape. Bon Esprit Villa. Book now. Call 486-7965.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are capable to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel and shoulder pain, cramps and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So walk again pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book an appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Gouvernement Saint-Lucie qui travaille avec ministre pour santé bien portant, ex affaires grand monde et qu'a offert plus pour femmes qui enceintes en Saint-Lucie. En bas plan Universal Health Coverage avec service pour maman et riche, provision déjà faite pour femmes enceintes joindre service laboratoire et sondage sans payer des sous. Yo kay joindre aussi vaccine, conseil pour bâtir famille, information à sous nourriture et conseil pour santé sévère. Nous là pour supporter vous. Venez et prendre l'avantage de service là tous les semaines sans payer des sous. Commencez le 1er juin 2023. Service laboratoire et sondage pour un lien qui aide à mettre femmes enceintes en plus bonne santé et fait plus sauve pour maman et riche. Visitez Health Center qui plus pour là et registrez pour Universal Health Coverage. Pour plus d'informations, Couillé 468 5328 et bien 468 5300.
If my point resonates with you, Mr. Attorney General, what you can do if you like is to amend this and put in a clause there to deal with this issue of physical information. It is too important to allow undefined and unregulated in this. The minister and his committees will never do what I'm talking about, and this is too vague to allow this to happen. And I really want to urge Mr. Speaker, in all seriousness, that something be done in that regard, and this is too vague. But I know, Mr. Speaker, whenever I stand up to speak about legislation, the people in my own party attack me and criticize me. You know that, Mr. Speaker? They tell you, oh, I come to Parliament I come to criticize the government. Why didn't I tell the government that before? And I know there are even other colleagues who share that kind of view. Let me tell you all something. You see St. Lucia? St. Lucia have you see walls? Careful. You never know who you're talking to. You go and sit down at a dinner in one of the hotels or elsewhere and you talk and talk. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who is a relative of who. You don't know who is a friend of who. You don't know who went to bed with who. That's the harsh reality of your society. So when you see I come in this chamber and I make oblique references, don't feel that I don't know. Don't feel because I say it that I'm not aware of it. But you know, Speaker, it reflects so many things. The lack of understanding of the role of a backbencher in Parliament, the lack of appreciation sometimes to understand that some points don't come to you immediately, that it takes a little while before. And it is not intended to mount an assault on the government or the Attorney General or the Minister. These little things along the passage of time you pick up.
Backbencher, Dr. Kenny Anthony speaking in the nation's parliament on Tuesday. We have a call online via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Poleon.
Yes. Good afternoon to you, ma'am. And you're talking about your grandmother of 103 years old. A grandmother of 103 years. And she was taken to the St. Jude Hospital, and the experience was not pleasant. Please share that story with my audience.
Okay. She was admitted at the hospital on the 23rd of January, and also she was admitted at hospital on the 9th of February. Right?
Yes.
When she arrived at the hospital, she was taken a blood test, X-ray, and ambulance service, and she had to pay for all of these things. She was discharged on Friday from the hospital. When I took the discharge form to the office, the secretary there told me that she has to pay for the time, the 4 days she spent at the hospital. So I said, but isn't there universal health care going on? Isn't it that the government is taking a 2.5 levy, VAT, whatever it is, I don't know, to take care of any person once you can prove your age that you are 80? The lady answered me and said, no such thing has been said to them, that they have not received any information from government that 80 years and over will not be paying medical bill. A bill was given to her for $772.80 for the 3 days at the hospital. And I am wondering, for that, government has collected $10.5 million. This was $6 million from citizens, which say a VAT levy for medical care. Episaka penetrate anti-mafia. The hospital is not a clinic. Every minute at the stadium, 4-5 persons are dying. The place is not sanitized. There is no fixed line. There is no printer working to print any document that you have. Somebody die now, I don't know if it's water, I don't know if it's hand sanitizer, I don't know if it's manipulated spirit. With a little piece of cloth, will pass on the mattress, the plastic mattress, and then somebody else will come right away and lay at the hospital. I am not surprised, Timothy, there are flies. The place is not sanitized. I am not surprised why the government has been saying so many lies. It is time that they come out and speak the truth. My cable was disconnected. I heard the Prime Minister spoke sometime, I think it was the 20th, the 19th of January on Satpata show. Real, keeping it real, whatever. I heard he said that there is no VAT on cable. There is no VAT on electricity. There is no VAT on water. That is a lie, Timothy.
No,
because I was disconnected.
There isn't any
for
VAT.
$26.
Ma'am, there isn't any VAT on water. There isn't any VAT on electricity.
So what's about flow?
But your cable, yes, there is VAT on it. There is the levy. Sorry, the levy as well. The levy.
For flow, right?
Yeah.
So I was disconnected for $26.50. I have to pay $225 every month online. Right? And now, when I was disconnected upon reaching that flow, I was disconnected for $26.50, which was because of the levy. Timothy, a lot of people will die in St. Lucia. We're losing our people by crime. We're losing our people at the stadium. We're losing at the people for what the young people hearing in the House of Parliament. In the House of Parliament. That is a crime. That is a crime to see how those men that are put in there to do what they're supposed to do, they're not doing it. Ultimately, the children are seeing it. The grown people are seeing it. And they're on one motive. Alan Shasney is not in government. Jealousy is a crime. Jealousy is a crime. I do not know why the focus is on Alan Shasney and not of the business of the state. Not of the business of the state. I don't know why all those lies have been done. Tell them what have they done with the $10.5 million. This was $6 million. Guamama fait 1919. She is July 25th to be specific. She will be 104. And Timothy, not even medication. The receipt for the medication. Vide. Pharmacie à l'hôpital, vide. Vide. You need your wheelchair. That's a dernier moun qui a da surgical. There is 2 trash cans right inside of the building where they are accommodating about 10 persons. Timothy, it's a disgrace to go at the stadium. It is a disgrace. And I don't think, okay, you is better because there are people way from Bexar coming to St. Jude's. They say St. Jude's is better than Bexar. Timothy, you must do your research and go to St. Lucia because come June, come July, we will lose a lot of souls in St. Lucia. And I didn't lie.
You say come July?
I didn't say what I'm saying.
You say come July? Why July?
Pardon?
You said come July we'll be losing a lot of souls in St. Lucia?
A lot of souls. Because day by day people getting sick and the treatment at the hospital is no good. It's no good. Timothy, I just want you to know why lying to the nation. Because I sent all the receipts and all the documents for you.
Yeah.
I don't know why 103 ambulance service is not being charged it is being charged by miles. The more mileage you have, the more expensive it is. And let the people know. Behaving in the House of Parliament like criminals and hooligans. focusing on one person who don't know if they're alive. And the business of the state is not being taken care of. Our children do not want to watch Parliament. They don't want to. And no one person in Parliament cannot say, guys, let us stop. All of them are what Dominic said. It's a gang of you know what. All of them. Because if they were not that, what that is happening here would not have happened. Thank you, Timothy.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for your contribution. Let's take a break from the calls. Kimani, the chat room. What is happening? Is the chat room on fire as well?
It is, Tim. Someone says, I'm not considered an intellectual, but I have understood Kenny's remarks. It's one of his own with a big and large enough mouth in his party who's bragging his mouth everywhere he goes, knowing that he is working in the Prime Minister's office. Another comment in the chat room. Someone is asking that you replay the clip of Kenny Anthony. It's making them laugh. Another comment. Someone says, this government has lost all integrity if they had any. KDA sounded like he was in opposition. Someone says the money was going to the consolidated funds. And another comment, after hearing about the 2.5% levy and the loan, why would I not believe that this government has a part to play in the briefcase?
WhatsApp message, I need to know who's representing hoteliers or hotel workers because the so-called unions are not doing nothing, whereas they should be our voices. We need people to hear our cries because the treatment and preferences we are facing on a daily basis, the government does not care about us, and the trade unions that are supposed to stand up for us, they are failing us.
Another comment, what is all the misleading fuss about? The PM was clear. He said the 2.5% health and security levy was a prerequisite to get the loan. He never said the levy was going towards the loan. Someone says we need to take it to the streets for what we were promised. 2.5% and we still have no medication at the hospitals, no sheets, no beds, and our security becomes less and less secured. PJP has to go.
Somebody says there, where is Lisa to explain the 2.5% levy and what the Prime Minister said in the House on Tuesday? Is she running out of words? Come on, Lisa, I want to hear you. I think they're referring there to Lisa Shawayir.
Another comment in the chat room. Tim, can our government take from that 2.5% million and dish out refunds to taxpayers that have been waiting for years? Then again, it will still be taxpayers paying themselves from that 10.5 million. So what's the big deal? When security and health is at its worst, we are hearing the so-called health and security taxes for something else. This is treasonous.
What's a message? I'm trying to understand the 2.5% levy. Would it actually be going to health and security, or will the funds be securing a loan for health and security? The Office of the Prime Minister, Minister, or Department of Finance, they need to clarify.
Someone says PJP's logic, better to do it and ask for forgiveness after. Someone says, I'm calling for an election. Another comment, this government has lost the confidence of the people and there is nothing they can do to regain that. They no longer have the legitimacy to govern without the confidence of the people.
What's our message, Tim? They are laughing at us. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello. Good afternoon. Okay, well, how's that call? Will you continue with the messages or your conversation or discussion in the chat room, Kimani?
Another comment. I agree, caller. Dissolve the House and call elections. I think y'all should start seeing quarter truths. Someone says, look at the United Kingdom is in recession. Our turn is soon to come.
What's a message? I have no potable water from the water utility company in my neck of the woods, and that is Moshi. It's going to be a month pretty soon, if not a month already. Open the tap, not even the sound of air, far less a drop of water. We have been calling the water company, sad story from them. I'm hoping by the time the day is over, we'll receive some water. Thank you very much.
Someone is asking, another person is asking that you play the clip of Kenny Anthony, Tim.
Okay, so let us hear from Dr. Kenny Anthony speaking in the island's parliament on Tuesday of this week. This is what he said. This is what some of you find quite interesting.
If my point resonates with you, Mr. Attorney General, what you can do if you like is to amend this and put in a clause there to deal with this issue of physical information. It is too important to allow undefined and unregulated in this. The minister and his committees will never do what I'm talking about, and this is too vague to allow this to happen. And I really want to urge Mr. Speaker, in all seriousness, that something be done in that regard, and this is too vague. But I know, Mr. Speaker, whenever I stand up to speak about legislation, the people in my own party attack me and criticize me. You know that, Mr. Speaker? They tell you, oh, I come to Parliament, I come to criticize the government. Why didn't I tell the government that before? And I know there are even other colleagues who share that kind of view. Let me tell you all something. You see St. Lucia? St. Lucia, you see walls? Be careful. You never know who you're talking to. You go and sit down at a dinner in one of the hotels or elsewhere, and you talk and talk. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who is a relative of who. You don't know who is a friend of who. You don't know who went to bed with who. That's the harsh reality of your society. So when you see I come in this chamber and I make oblique references, don't feel that I don't know. Don't feel because I say it that I'm not aware of it. But you know, Speaker, it reflects so many things. The lack of understanding of the role of a backbencher in Parliament, the lack of appreciation sometimes to understand that some points don't come to you immediately, that it takes a little while before. And it is not intended to mount an assault on the government or the Attorney General or the Minister. These little things along the passage you of time you pick up.
Former Prime Minister, MP for V4 South, Dr. Kenny Anthony, and sounding a warning there, St. Lucia is going to have some wars. Let me turn my attention now to our NewsSpin news of the day. UN chief warns climate chaos and food crises threaten global peace. He says empty bellies fuel unrest. UN chief warns climate chaos and food crises threaten global peace. Empty bellies, according to him, fuel unrest. So former MP for Castries Southeast, Guy Joseph, was on the threesome in the morning today right here on Power 97.9 FM, hosted by Big Slim and QQ. And he made reference to what transpired in the Parliament this week on Tuesday, and how Speaker Jeremiah Norbert conducted himself. And he went on to say that just maybe we should stop calling those people Speaker, because they hardly speak. They're not doing the bulk of the talking in the Parliament. So why describe them as Speaker or call them Speaker? According to him, they should be deemed to be a listener. Listen.
Speakers are not to give people lectures in the Parliament. I never know why they call him Speaker, because he's supposed to be listener.
Cool out.
No, I'm telling you. It always baffles me why the person who speaks the least
I like that.
is called a speaker. Speakers are not to give people lectures in the Parliament. I never know why they call him Speaker, because he's supposed to be listener.
Cool out.
No, I'm telling you. It always baffles me why the person who speaks the least
I like that.
is called a speaker.
Extracted from the threesome in the morning right here on Power 97.9 FM. The guy was doing all the laughing. Big Slim. And of course hosted by QQ as well. And that was featured this morning, and the guest was Guy Joseph, former MP for Castries Southeast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the most monitored talk show in the world, that is NewsSpin. Have yourself a safe and enjoyable Thursday. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow afternoon, same time, 12:30, with another edition of NewsSpin. Goodbye.